Hello, hello, hello there, everyone. So good to be here yet again. Today is the last day. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh. Okay, quick intros. Patricia Hayes, Executive Advisor, Career Empowerment Coach, and Authentic Networking Strategist here with our bonus session number 4. And it is the final night of activities from the week plus of activities for the 5 days to career success in any economy workshop that we were hosting live all week long from last Monday through Friday. And then 4 sessions. This is session 4 that were extra over and above for it. And it has been quite the ride. I am telling you that I was not prepared for the level of not just engagement, but what it took to actually pull things off today or this past week, just because, of course, there's always technology issues, there's always something that's going to pop up. But literally, from the energy perspective, and to be able to push through. And that's some of the things we're going to talk about today, because today we're going to end where we started, and that is with our mindset. So, quick recap. All last week, we addressed a whole host of issues and strategies and mindsets that needed to be addressed if you want to truly be to be successful and to accomplish your goals in your career, regardless of what's going on around you, regardless of whether the economy is doing poorly or regardless of whether the economy is doing great. It's the basics, the core of what needs to happen if you want to make sure you lay a strong foundation for success in your career and life. Here they are. First of all, make sure you have a strong mindset and that you address those issues that are outstanding that are affecting your ability to make and to impact your ability to make the decisions that are going to affect you long term with your career. Now, it's a journey, not a destination. That's always what I say. So it's not just that you're all of a sudden you're going to do this one thing and then it's one and done and it's fixed. That's not how it works. However, being open and willing to address things on an ongoing basis is crucial to your long term growth. Okay. And then we moved on and start talking about a plan. Start talking about what is included when you're working through what your plan is going to be and how that you have to consider the possibilities of what can happen. You have to consider the logistics, the obvious who, what, when, where, how. Then you've got to take action. And ultimately, you have to consider what your next steps are going to be. And all of that is encompassing in the plan that you lay out for your career. Now, the next thing after that is you got to have relationships in order to implement all that. So we spent a day talking about how to build those authentic, genuine relationships that will last you for the long haul, especially when you're talking about addressing your professional needs. Okay. So crucial, so important. There are a whole bunch of myths around developing those relationships, especially when you use that in networking word, because that sends people over the edge, right? So we want to make sure that you are focused on the relationships you're building, not the format in which it's happening so much, but just the fact that you are engaging in those activities in a way that's authentic and genuine to you and that will help other people because you're really focusing on what can you do for others, not just on what they can do for you. When you start looking at that and flipping that around, it makes a world of difference. And then next we had to dive into a new area of this week, which is leadership, and how we have to start looking at how we are leading others and being a person of influence in our work, in our personal lives, in our community. All of this plays into our long term professional career success. and our personal development. So we had a long conversation about leadership, about what it means to be a leader, and how you don't have to have a title, because there are a lot of people with titles who are not good leaders, okay? But we're talking about what is it that you're doing to inspire others, to motivate others, to direct them and give them a gentle push, or to support and guide them as they move along their way. Okay. And then finally, but not least, we talked about what are you doing to truly empower yourself. All of these things we talked about previously and impact that empowerment level. But what are you doing at the what I call the touchy feely level? What are you doing to be more authentically you, to be more creative in your pursuits, to be more adventurous in the things that you consider, to take care of your health, not just in a physical way, but emotionally and spiritually, and mentally as well. And that you're remembering to have fun sometimes, because even in the midst of pandemic, it is really important to give yourself a break and to relax. So those are the core pieces of what we talked about on those 5 steps to career success in any economy. And it was great to be able to share that with you all. And then we had some great, fantastic speakers this weekend. I was so excited to have them. Tracy Sinich, and as well as Melissa Sledge. If you missed those, you've got to go back and catch them up. And I will be sharing nuggets from both of their interviews. But they were really on point with things that they had not even heard me share, which is about how important it is to recognize who you are and where you are at that point in your life when you know without a shadow of a doubt that it is time for you to make a move, and that prolonging that decision does not help it. It, in fact, can negatively impact you because situations start to shift and to change. And you will just be kind of forced to keep moving forward with some things that you already knew you needed to do, right? And then last night, we had a question and answer session where I addressed some of the issues that had come in over the week, quietly behind the scenes, as well as some that are kind of perennial. There are things that have been coming up throughout the year. And so I addressed those things for you in a Q&A. And here we are tonight, back where we began talking about mindset. But this time I have a different question for you. And ultimately, it's this: what is keeping you from moving forward in your life, in your career, even after the week that I just described to you, even after a week of solid content, of support, of guidance, all of those tips, strategies, reflection points that you needed in order to help guide you to saying where you are in your career and what do you need to do next? What is keeping you from taking that next step? That's the question on the table now. And here's the thing: this is the thing that I know, and I know deeply and personally, because I have been there. I've been where you are, where you're trying to figure out what it is you need to do next. And sometimes you're just tired. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm a little exhausted. This year has been exhausting, yes? And so sometimes you're like, I'm too tired to deal with that. Or other times I'm too frustrated to deal with that. I'm too upset. There's always an excuse. And when it comes down to it, regardless of what's going on in our external worlds that we are allowing to affect our internal motivations and decision making, the bottom line is it comes down to you. It comes down to what's going on in your head, in your heart, in your soul about what it is you know you need to do next. Now, I'm not saying that you know exactly the next step, but what I am saying is you know that there's a next step that needs to be taken. You know that you have to do something different. You feel it in your gut. You can no longer ignore it. And when you get to that point, it's a crossroads. It's a crossroads. And the question is, whether you're going to keep along the beaten path and try to see if you can hold out a little while longer to ignore what your gut is telling you, or if you're going to go on that unbeaten path, if you're going to go on that path that looks a little, little scary, it looks a little untraveled, and there's a lot of uncertainty there, but it's like, you know what? It's time to take the next step and it's time to take a new path. Because ultimately, the thing or what it is that's standing in your way is you. Bottom line, we have all of the excuses. We have tons of people and things and whatever that often stands in our way. It's true, not denying that at all. But in the end, it comes down to a decision that you must make, that I must make, to say enough is enough and it's time to move forward. To say, you know what, I'm really worth taking the next step. To say that I'm worth investing the time and the money and the resources so that I can get to the next level of what it is I really want to achieve, to get to the next level of what it is I'm really going after. Or to say, to get to the next level that I'm not quite sure of yet, but I know I'm ready to move on. And it's hard to get to that decision, especially when we're talking about our careers, and especially if you've been in a particular position for any length of time. And I know people who are like, you must be crazy. Do you see we're in the middle of this pandemic? We have this recession that's going on. Who can decide to make a move right now? Well, let me tell you, it's happening and lots of people are doing it. You would be surprised. And this is not what I'm guessing or what I'm just thinking or hearing about. Like, this is what I know because I get the calls. I got two last week. I got two messages last week from people who were like, hey, just FYI, like this is going on and I'm not sure where it's going to land, but I wanted you to know. Or another one who's like, hey, this fantastic thing got presented to me. I don't think I'm going to be able to take it and I'm really bummed about that. But, I need to get my head straight as I figure out what to do next. It's happening. And guess what? It's been happening all year long. So don't believe the lies or the misconceptions that good things can't happen during a bad time. You don't have to feel guilty about it either. Because here's the thing, if something good happens to you, what are you going to do? Most people are going to share. They're going to share that love. They're going to share in that. So if you benefit and it helps your family or a friend or whatever, guess what? That's how it works. You don't have to feel guilty because you're being successful, because you are taking the steps to grow regardless of what is going on around you. That's really what it's talking about. Are you willing to continue your growth regardless of what's going on? Because a lot of times here are the things that stand in our way. Fear. And we went through a lot of this last week, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on those things. But fear of the unknown, fear of what's happened, fear of what somebody's going to think, fear of failure, fear of success. I'm like, there's a whole host of those things, but we're scared. You get scared. And guess what? There's no shame in being scared. There's no shame in it, right? It's human. It's natural. The question is, what are you going to do about that fear? Are you going to live in it? You're going to wallow in it? Are you going to get up and say, I got to do something different? I'm scared, but I got to move forward anyways. I got to go for it. Flip that fear around, right? You got to flip it around. Worthiness, questions of whether you're really worth making that change. Is it really going to matter? Those are tough. That's definitely mindset things that you have to sit and reflect on and figure out, where is that coming from? Where is that coming from that's causing you to believe that you're not worthy of achieving at the highest levels? Wow. What is feeding that? We need to take the time to reflect on those things. Here's another one. This is one that's gotten me a lot of times: past mistakes. That you are living in the past, and and this again ties into fear, but it's the past, it's specifically about the past mistakes that have been made, and that maybe you can't move forward because you're just going to be repeated, or it's going to result in a similar thing happening, so why even bother? All right, we're letting our past hinder our future. Are you letting your past hinder your future? Man, that's good stuff. Yeah. Y'all know I like to take notes when I'm talking through this stuff. It's great. All right. And last but not least, about the future and about the uncertainties that are attached to it. Guess what? None of us have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen like in 10 minutes, much less what's going to happen in 10 days or 10 months. But does that keep you from going forward and saying, well, you know what? I may not know exactly what's going to happen in 10 minutes, but I know I'm probably going to be planning dinner, or I'm probably going to, go sit and relax for a few minutes, right? And then you can say, well, you know what? In 10 days, I would love to be taking a nice little relaxation and enjoying the holidays. And in 10 months, here's the thing: what is it you want to say you're doing in 10 months? Where do you want to be this time next year? Still saying that, man, I really need to take some action and I really need to do the next thing. You will have lost 12 months, 365 days will have gone to waste. Are you really going to waste 365 days because you're scared, because you don't know what's going to happen, so you're going to do nothing? I know it sounds crazy to even say it, yeah? That's not what we want to do. That's not how we want to live our lives. None of us really want to live that way. The question is whether we can garner up the internal strength and abilities to help propel us forward, to help move us so that we can be in position for what is next. Because that's really what we're talking about. We want to be in position for what's next. And you can't do it by sitting still. You got to have some movement. You got to have some movement. You got to get to a certain thing. You got to grow a little bit. You got to fail a little bit, right? You got to take some new steps. You got to meet some new people. You have to plan a little bit and see where it leads to. Being flexible, being fluid, but taking action. We have to get past the negative Nellies, external and internal, because we talk some really nasty stuff to ourselves a lot of times. We will tell ourselves some crazy things and build it up in our heads, and then it turns out not to be true. Totally have stressed ourselves out, have caused all this conflict in our heads, and then it's not even that big a deal. It's like non-existent. How much time will we spend doing that? How much time will you waste listening to the foolishness inside of your head? At some point in time, you have to call yourself out and you have to say, enough is enough. Let's go. It may not be pretty. It certainly is not going to be perfect. I don't want you to wait for things to be perfect because that means you won't do anything. Hello, perfectionist Patty. I can swear to that. So it's all about taking the imperfect action so that you can grow and move yourself forward. I literally just had this conversation again today with a previous client where we were talking about what is it you want to do. Well, I know things are a little crazy, and but I'm gonna move forward, and eventually I'm gonna, want to do this, but I'll probably sit that out for a year or so. No, no, we're not sitting anything out because in a year you could be in a completely different frame of mind, position, all kinds of things that you allowed to happen to you as opposed to you taking action to make happen. And when we get to that point, most of the time we are not happy with ourselves because we can see where we could have taken some action, done a couple of things to shift and to position ourselves in a way that we're probably would prefer to be. But if you just let things happen because you're like, oh, well, no, it's not going to matter, it absolutely matters. What you do today will matter tomorrow. What you do today will matter in a month, in 2 months, in a year, because it's all about the baby steps. We can't chunk down enough things all at once. Most of the time, we will get overwhelmed by that. But if we take baby steps and do something every day, you'll look up and 3 months later, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've got that done. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm almost there. And then you've got that self motivation, that inspiration going on. You've got folks cheering you. You get your cheerleaders. You get your own Palm Squad going. I always talk about that. Make sure you have your fan club to help you out, and that you have your mastermind of folks that you tap into to help you. But it only happens when you take the step. It only happens when you take the step. I literally started writing out the other day the list of things that seem to be coming to fruition, excuse me, that uh, are on the table for next year for me. And yeah, when I started writing all that, I'm like, whoa, I'm like, that looks like a lot. But very few of the items are brand new. Most of them are things that have been, on the brink for a year or two now, that have been right there on the cusp. Some of them are things that I sat on for too long, but it keeps coming up and it's there again. So it's like, guess what? I got to take action this time to make this happen. And that when you do that and when you seek out having the proper support, it totally shifts your mindset about what is possible. I posted about, are you, viewing your career through the lens of positive possibilities? That's how we need to view it, not from the negative Nelly standpoint, but from what are the positive possibilities about what's next. Man, that should get you excited. And it is literally a mindset shift when you do that. When you start thinking about what's possible in a good way and not just what's possible in the negative context. It is just as easy to think about good things and how those things could come to fruition as it is negative ones. So just do it. When you start that that negative self-talk, or like, oh, well, that's not really going to work, or they're not really going to, you need to flip that right then, like flip that switch immediately. Write it down if you have to. Y'all know I talk about keeping journals and keeping notes or whatever. Write it down. Put it on, we did the burning exercise. Do it again. Get yourself a note, a sticky note or something, write that negative thing down and then go burn it. Burn it up. Get it out. Let it go. And sometimes we have to do that. We have to exercise that faith muscle, that muscle to keep pushing forward, even when we're tired, even when we're discouraged, because guess what? There's always something fresh coming and waiting for you just around the bend. You just have to stick it out. You just have to stick it out. So that's what I have for you today. That is what I have for you today. You have today. Let's do something with what you have today. And with that, I invite you to come join me to continue this work in the Career Catalyst Empowerment Coaching Program. It is a 12-month program that is launching. And I'm super excited to be able to carry this work forward into 2021 with new opportunities, there's so much new, not just content, but concepts and things like that I want to incorporate, that I want to share, the resources that I'm pulling together to help make sure that you can achieve the goals you have set your mind to achieving, and to take the step for the first step along that journey. That you would allow me to be the accountability partner, that you would allow me to pull myself, my team together to help support you in making your dream come alive, in making your career transitions a reality, to being an overcomer. It doesn't matter how bad the situation was. Guess what? It can be overcome. Trust me, it can. It can look horrible, but it can be overcome. Speaking from experience, speaking from others who I've known who've done it, there is greatness on the other side of this. So let's make it happen for you. Let's make it happen. So I want you to go click on the Career Catalyst program link. Go check out the information about it. If you're ready to take, quick action right now, go do it. And if you do it, there are bonuses, there are great things waiting for you on the other side of that action. If you still have questions, let's talk about it. I'm here. Let's do it. Send me a message, email me, DM me. I am here to help continue to talk through that so that you can make the decisions that you need to make about taking the next steps in your career, about making sure that you have a sustainable plan for your career moving forward. Not because it's about the plan. It's not about the plan. It's about being true to you. It's about making time for you and stepping up to the plate to make the investment in you so that you can do the things you have been longing to do. That's what it's all about. All right, there we are. It has been my pleasure. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with you this entire week. I hope to see more of you again on the other side inside the Career Catalyst program. If not now, then in the future. But let's get started now. Okay. And I look forward to hearing your input, because as I move forward, I look forward to continuing to grow, to acknowledge new opportunities, to share those opportunities with others, and that knowledge and those empowering moments that will get people boosted to the next level. That's what we're all talking about. We want to get to the next level of what's best for you, the next level of you. That is the goal. So let's make it happen. I'm so thankful to you. I'm thankful for this opportunity. I hope that you all have a fantastic remainder of not just your day, but your week, that you are safe, and that you have a tremendous end to your year. All right, let's get started. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.